Hey, Smoglings, what is happening? So, in this one, we're going to talk about Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, the second installment in the Harry Potter series, and we're going to be discussing that. Now, a couple of disclaimers first. I'm going to be doing a much more casual conversation than I was doing in the previous film review for Philosopher's Stone. I try a bit more casual and also going to do away with the rating for now because it's going to get messy when I'm doing lists in future because it's obviously going to be the one that's rated the highest is going to be the top of the list, and my mind could change on that. So I'm going to do away with that at the minute just to have the conversation and then the content of the review be the value of what I think of it rather than the rating at the end. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to talk about Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, and this one is directed by Christopher Columbus again. He returns from Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, so we got him again and I'm very happy about that because he does a great job and stars Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, Rupert Grint, Kenneth Branagh, Robbie Coltrane, Richard Harris, Alan Rickman, and Jason Isaacs. So we got that principal cast for this film, and I'm going to give a bit of context for this one because I believe this is my first cinema experience and really did love the film for that. And obviously, these films mean a lot to me, and really love my experience for this film because the first one I watched on VHS countless times, and because I adored it so much, I was taken to the theater to see this one when I was a little wee smog going to the cinema. And I remember seeing the preview for the scene with the Ford Anglia when Ron and Harry are in the flying car and headed towards Hogwarts. And I remember seeing that as a little kid with my mum as a preview, and it was absolutely amazing. I was so excited, and nagged and begged her to go take me to that. So I'm very happy that I did that because I ended up seeing the film. So very great memory with this as well. And for the plot for this one, this is the film that takes place before the commencement of his second year at Hogwarts. So we back with the Dursleys, and Harry has been upgraded to a bedroom finally. He's out of the cupboard under the stairs and finally got his own bedroom, which is a hand me down from Dudley's old bedroom, which is better than nothing. And the Dursleys have got a visitor coming, and Harry is visited himself by Dobby, the house elf. So the house elf comes to Dursley's house and tells Harry there's going to be this plot to make bad things happen in Hogwarts this year. So Dobby is urging Harry to take loads of precautions and not go to Hogwarts this year. And Harry, understandably, believes Hogwarts to be his true home, and Dobby is having none of it. And he makes him promise that he won't go to Hogwarts, which Harry still doesn't do. And then, because of that, Dobby drops the cake on the head of the visitors, and then Harry is obviously punished by the Dursleys and locked in the room. And the end of the film. No, he's locked in his room, he's kept in his room, and then we see the Weasleys come in the Ford Anglia, the amazing Ford Anglia. I think it's one of the best cars in movie history and the best vehicles in movie history. I think it stands with the DeLorean and the Millennium Falcon are some of the best vehicles in movie history. And we see the Weasleys come to his window and they remove the bars from the window, get Harry out of there, and then we get to the burrow with the Weasleys' house, and then we do that, and then we see all the Weasleys. We see Molly Weasley and Arthur Weasley, the mum and dad of the Weasleys, and we spend some time with them. Then we go to Diagon Alley, and then we get into the film, and then eventually at Hogwarts. And that's when the terrible plot of the Mudbloods being petrified happens. So the mystery of this film is that there are a series of attacks on Muggleborn. So there are people with non-magical parents being attacked within Hogwarts, and that's the central mystery of the film. Like the first one, it's got that mystery structure to it, which I really do like for these early Harry Potter films. And this one's much darker, I'd say, than the first one. For a family film, I'd say it is quite a bit darker, and the themes are more mature because the central theme, I think, to this film is elitism. There's a lot of elitism from the Lucius Malfoy character, the Malfoys in general, and the Slytherins and Tom Riddle. There's this elitism towards Muggleborns and people with all non-magical parents, and that's why they're being attacked. It's a series of attacks to eradicate the Muggleborns from Hogwarts, because that's what Salazar Slytherin, the founding member of Hogwarts, wanted. He wanted the school to be comprised wholly of pure-blooded wizards, and that's not going to fly in this day and age. And it's a much more mature theme that we get discussed here. And while Harry is trying to uncover this mystery, he's also dealing with the fact that he's got a lot of similarities to Voldemort. He speaks Parseltongue, he's able to speak to snakes, he's got that similar temperament. He obviously gets in trouble a lot, like Voldemort was likely to do, and he gets into a lot of trouble. And we see those similarities emerge. We see those characteristics emerge that are similar to Voldemort, and we learn that Voldemort transferred his powers to Harry unwittingly when he gave him the scar when he was a little kid. And because of that, there's a lot of characteristics that are connecting Harry and Voldemort. And I thought that was very cool to see that depicted in the book and the film. I thought they did a really good job of that, and that comes into play more further along down the series. And I did like that quite a lot. And it's got a consistent style and feel to the first one, but it is darker. And I think a lot of people were trepidatious about Chris Columbus coming back, thinking he couldn't do this because he's known for lighter affairs. And this is a much more mature thing, but I think he does it very well. And I think he improves as a director in this film, quite honestly. I think he does a very nice job with the camera in certain sequences, particularly with the Quidditch sequences and the flashback sequences that we see in Tom Riddle's diary. I think he does a very good job there with the camera and lighting, and I think he did a really great job there. And like I said, with the flying car scene is one that really stuck in my mind. That is like one of the most iconic scenes from this film, I think, and it's the one they previewed quite a lot, and I absolutely love that because I said I saw it with my mum when we watched the preview for it before the film actually came out, and I remember being amazed by that, and really did love that sequence for that film. And another addition to the cast is Kenneth Branagh, who plays Gilderoy Lockhart, who is this dashing adventurer that has written so many books, and he's a big celebrity, and he's come to teach at Hogwarts and become the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, and does a very good job here. I think he's a little bit old to play the part. I think he's just a little bit older than the character needed to be as he's younger in the book, but that is a minor quibble. I think he does a great job here and very amusing in certain scenes as well. Just does a great job there with some of the more amusing scenes because he's a very idiotic character in a lot of ways. He does exhibit quite idiotic characteristics in certain scenes, but it's very amusing the way it plays out, and I did like his performance quite a lot for that one. And another thing I love about this film is that you see Harry's isolation in this film, the way he's ostracized, because we've got these series of attacks that are happening on the Muggleborns within the castle, and Harry is blamed for that because of his speaking of Parseltongue, his similarities to Voldemort, and him being the chosen one. There's a lot of tension on Harry in this film, and his friends even suspect him at certain scenes, and it's often done with the way the camera is showing their faces. So you see Harry get those glances from his classmates when they're studying, and you can see that people are suspecting Harry that he's responsible for these Muggleborn attacks, and he's completely ostracized. And I think that's a really interesting part of this film is that you see that isolation that Harry experiences, and it's what he feels a lot of the time because he is the chosen one, and he's said to be the one to fulfill the prophecy. And it's really cool to see that on display here, that he's struggling with that isolation again because he came to Hogwarts and he thought that this was going to be a brand new home for him. He's going to be really comfortable all the time, and it's going to be a better life for him. And it is in a lot of ways, but he's still experiencing some negatives along with that. And one of the negatives is that he's a very famous person and someone who's very noted. So that was cool to see for sure. I really did love that part of the film. And that's the thing as well, is that it's a disruption of the equilibrium when these attacks are happening, because Hogwarts was seen to be one of the safest places, and Hagrid said that in Philosopher's Stone. Hogwarts is one of the safest places, and it's not in this film. There's a lot of danger as these attacks are happening. Who could be next? That is part of the tension of this film, and it's really thrilling in that way because you're wondering who is going to be attacked next, because there's all these Muggle-born attacks on these various people within the castle, and it's very tense. And I think they do a better job at creating that tension in this film because in the Philosopher's Stone, there's obviously the mystery of the Philosopher's Stone, but it's concealed within the castle, so the danger isn't really present throughout. But in this one, within the corridors, people are being attacked nightly, and it's very frightening. As a kid, I remember seeing it, I was very frightened by the fact that these kids are being attacked by this mysterious creature throughout the film, and it creates more danger, more excitement, and I really did think that Chris Columbus directed that really well and showed that really well. So I did think he did a really good job there. And yeah, we got that sort of elitism there, like I said, with the film, and you've got that theme that the Slytherins are trying to wipe out all the Muggle-borns. Salazar Slytherin was, And speaking of Salazar Slytherin, the founder of Hogwarts, I love the fact that the entire plot of the film is because he wanted the school to be comprised fully of pure-blooded wizards. The other founding members from the other houses said that that could not be done. And as an act of defiance, he created the Chamber of Secrets and housed the basilisk inside there. And the basilisk was returned to eliminate the Muggle Borns. And I thought that was really cool plot, really cool history of the school, and it develops the world really well. And I'd almost love to see a series devoted to the founding of Hogwarts and the house members as well. I think that would be really cool to see. I think they were talking about doing a series focused on the founding members of Hogwarts before, and I think that would be an awesome idea. I'd really love to see that. I think that'd be really exciting to see. And for that, we got also the Quidditch scenes, which are done so well in this, and seeing it again, because I've literally just seen it again, as I do with these reviews, I see the film and then speak about it on here, and the Quidditch scene is so well done. It's a bit longer, it seems like, than the Philosopher's Stone, and you get so much more dynamic camera angles, and there's a lot going on in this Quidditch match, because Harry is being attacked by Dobby, because Dobby is trying to stop Harry from pursuing this mystery, and they want him to go home because Dobby is afraid for Harry's life, even though he's trying to fucking kill him with these bludgers and all the obstacles within the Quidditch pitch, and it's really crazy. But the Quidditch scene is really well done, and you see when Harry is trying to get the snitch, and he's obviously got Draco Malfoy as the Seeker there trying to get it as well, and they do a really good job of having the race be so exciting, and I love the way they showed that because we see a lot of obstacles in the way, and they're going in the rafters, and very dynamic scene and really good. And I don't think that gets discussed enough. The improvement in the technology seemingly is very apparent, even though it's just a year later, and it's really cool the sort of development of what they're able to do in these scenes. I think that's really cool and really exciting to see that. And I did love that very much. And delves into the history, and we got more advanced magic on display here. So the students are dueling now because we've got these attacks happening and they need a way to defend themselves. So they appoint the defense against the dark arts teacher, Gilderoy Lockhart, to teach them how to defend themselves. And they got these dueling matches. and they're casting spells at each other, and we see this duel between Draco Malfoy and Harry Potter, and it's very cool. And you see Harry's anger start to emerge, his aggression, because he's very passive in the first movie, and here you get to see him fight back quite a lot in these matches, and you can see the aggression in his face after being cast a spell at by Malfoy, and it's really cool to see his actual aggression and his anger towards that, and you get that more advanced magic. So I did enjoy seeing that because you don't really get much of that combat within the first one, and there's that more aggression from him, which I did like a lot, and he develops his character. Like I said, it sort of speaks more to his similarities to Voldemort. And another weird thing about this film is that the actors are obviously getting older as the film is going. So Draco at the beginning is older than he is later in the film. It's like it's fucking crazy, but it's funny to see because it's honest. Because obviously films are not shot in chronological order, so it's quite funny to see the fact that Draco Malfoy is like almost a year older. It looks like in the opening of the film, and then later in the film he's younger. It's quite funny to see. It's like Benjamin Button, it seems like, but that's the nature of just the way they were shooting these films because they were trying to get them done as the actors were of the correct age, which I do understand. So that's quite interesting to see. And yeah, like I said, that danger is present throughout the film, and I did love seeing that. I thought it was really expertly done by Chris Columbus because he's the one spearheading this whole thing, and he's the one that is really in charge of crafting this film. And I think he did a really good job there for that one. And with the sequences in this film, one of my favorites is the Chamber of Secrets itself, going in the Chamber of Secrets when Harry and Ron and Gilderoy Lockhart are finally able to go into the Chamber of Secrets and they learn about it. I really thought it was an amazing sequence where you see Harry speak to Tom Riddle, Voldemort himself, the young version of Voldemort. I thought that was really cool. And then you have this twist, which to me was like The Empire Strikes Back. It's like Darth Vader saying he's Luke's father, where you have Tom Riddle spell his name out with the wand, Tom Marvolo Riddle, and then he rearranges it, and it's an anagram of I am Lord Voldemort. I thought that was really cool. I thought that was amazing when I first saw that, and it really made an impression when I saw that as a kid because it's a big twist within the film if you're not familiar with the books. And I hadn't read the books at that point because I was too stupid to read, man. I was a young kid, so I didn't have the ability to read. I still can't read, but no, I can read now, thankfully. But at the time, I hadn't read the books, and it was a cool reveal that was. I really did like that quite a lot, and it's like I said, all about the elimination of the Muggleborns, and that's a really mature theme that this film tackled. And for a film that's supposed to be family friendly, I thought that was really cool that they sort of deal with that theme within the film, the theme of racism and elitism within the wisdom world, because it makes it more like ours and it makes it more realistic, which I did really like that one. And another thing I really caught on to was the fact that when Harry defeats the basilisk in the film, and it's a really cool sequence because it's sort of like Bilbo fighting Smaug, myself, the dragon in The Hobbit, and he's there with a sword and he impales him through the roof of his mouth. And then you see Voldemort's face and he's like, oh fuck. He finally did it. He finally got the basilisk killed and Voldemort knows it's over. And I thought that was really cool the way it showed that. And obviously, because Ginny is the one that is being used as the vessel for Voldemort, he's using her to petrify the Muggleborns. And I thought that was really cool because that's the beginning of the relationship between Ginny and Harry, and obviously they become closer as the series goes on. And I really loved that part of the film because I thought it was really cool that they begin that relationship in this film, and I did really like that a lot. And Dumbledore as well. Dumbledore is always brilliant. Love Dumbledore as a character. He's a really fantastic character. And every time that Harry and Ron do these wild escapades, and it's just Harry and Ron this time. It's not Harry, Ron, Hermione. It's just Harry and Ron because Hermione's being petrified and she's in the hospital ward in the school. So she's out of action for the final sequence, and Harry and Ron are reprimanded by Dumbledore, but then he turns it around and gives them commendation for taking courageous actions. I love that. He always almost punishes them all the time. He almost always punishes them. And he turns around and says, "Ah, you've done all right. You saved the school. It's okay. We'll forgive you for what you've done." And I thought that was really funny. And yeah, Dumbledore's really cool and always great. And it's the last one from Richard Harris, which is really sad, I think, because obviously he died after this. Just before the film released, I think he died. And he was really a great Dumbledore. And I think he was the better. I think at the minute, I do think he's the better. But as I'm watching these films, I'll see how I feel. But they're both great. Like Michael Gambon is great as well. But I really did love Richard Harris, and I do miss him as Dumbledore. I think it'd be nice to see him complete the saga as Dumbledore. I think that would have been really good. But yeah, you get to see Richard Harris as Dumbledore for the final time, which is sad but beautiful because he gives such a great performance. So I was really happy that he gave such a good performance here. And then at the end of the film, we get Harry, Ron, Hermione all reunited in the Great Hall, and Hagrid is convicted as the person that released the basilisk from the Chamber of Secrets, and he's finally released from Azkaban here, the prison in the Wisdom World, and I love this moment when he comes back. It really hits hard. Always gets super emotional when I see this moment that he returns, and Hagrid is such a great character. Like I've always loved Hagrid and Robbie Coltrane's portrayal, but he's just such a great uncle to the kids. He's just such a great guardian and a really good friend to them. And it's really touching to see because they got such a great rapport with each other. And he's always a great comfort to Harry, Ron, Hermione. He's a really good uncle, it seems like. And it's awesome to see him here. And he returns and then get that line that Harry says where there's no Hogwarts without you, Hagrid. And that is beautiful and one of the most emotional moments in the film. And I always get super emotional at that scene. And I think, it's expertly done here. And all the actors do a great job. And it's just really exciting to see the beginning of the series because the books weren't actually finished at this point. So it's awesome to see these things being set into motion, like the Horcruxes, the series of objects where Voldemort divides his soul, and we also get the journal, which is one of them in here as well, which is really cool to see. And I thought that was really cool. We see a lot of the history, a lot of the lore being expanded for the world, and really loved seeing that. And like I said, I'm going to do away with the ratings for now and just do a discussion about the film. And I think that's the way I'm going to do it at the minute. And that's what's going to be done because it just gets a bit messy with the ratings and the list I will do inevitably later on. So I'm going to do away the ratings for now. But needless to say, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets is an amazing film and one I really love. And I have a lot of nostalgia for all these films. But it's going to be interesting to see the next two, which are Prisoner of Azkaban and The Goblet of Fire, because they might be my least favorite of the films. Still think they're great, but I think they are possibly my least favorite. But we'll see how that changes as we go to the films, because I'm rewatching them for these, so we'll see how I feel about them. But I really love this one, and I think the style is jarring because we have a change in directors for Prison of Azkaban and The Goblet of Fire. So I think the style is a little bit jarring because after that we get the same director. We get David Yates for Order of the Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince, Deathly Hallows Part 1, and Deathly Hallows Part 2. So the style is consistent then. And another thing to say about this film is this is sort of the last of the plot-based Harry Potter films because they get more character-driven as they go on. There's less of a mystery throughout the school. There's less of that conventional structure, and they become quite different. And each film is separated quite a bit further along down the series, so it's going to be cool to see that and the unpredictability of how they roll out in future films, and it's going to be really cool to see. But yeah, absolutely love Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. I think the first one is going to be my favorite because that's the introduction to the world, and it was so exciting at the time to see the film, and I think that's going to be my favorite forever, I think. But this one is really great as well. I may do a ranking later on, and we may do a ranking video at some point. But right now, love Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Really amazing, really important film to me, and the whole saga, like I said, is really important. And I want to know what you guys think of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, and which one is your favorite one. If you do have one, which one is your favorite? So I'm going to end the video now. We'll do Prisoner of Azkaban next. So I will put that in the schedule. But right now, that is it for Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets review. And hope you guys enjoyed watching. Like I said, I'm going to be doing these casual conversations about the films as a review, and then I will get better at doing this, and then we'll get more complex and more detailed with the review, and it'll be really great. So I really appreciate watching, guys, and I will see you on the next one. So cheers, Smuglings, and I will see you soon.